So let's start with a spoiler warning. There are going to be new creatures from Tears of the Kingdom here. None that haven't been shown in trailers yet, and I didn't look at the leaked art book, so you're safe from full spoilers. I'll also be showing snippets of Tears of the Kingdom trailers, so if you're trying to go in fully blind, it's probably best to avoid this video. You still here? Good, let's begin. I am so excited! Breath of the Wild got me through some hard times back in the day. I was going through a bad breakup, and it was my first Switch game. It was seriously a beautiful experience, and it's probably up there in my top 5 games. Maybe if every Valve game doesn't completely take over all those 5, but my excitement when Tears of the Kingdom was announced was akin to that kid who got the Nintendo. And each trailer since then has only furthered my excitement. And I was a Gary's mod kid back in the day, so you know when I saw that fusion mechanic I was giddy as all get out for that. So like an offering to the Nintendo gods themselves, I offer up some Tears of the Kingdom creatures as Pokemon. This has probably been done before or is going to be done, but I want to have a go. And it's something I really haven't done yet, turning pre-established character designs and turning them into Pokemon. So if you like what I've done here, tell me if you want more videos like this. So let's begin with a well-shown, completely new creature, the Zonai Construct. These designs are amazing. I mean, I love robots a lot, but then adding in these ancient rock-like designs with an almost pseudo-Aztec aesthetic to them? What makes this even more astounding is the fact that these may not all be evil? I want one as a little friend to follow me around the entire game. The Pokemon I made from these guys are a little less literal for them, as they are way too complex for a Pokemon design just by themselves. But it makes sense to simplify them. The first evolution is based on this one, seen attacking Link. If you look closely, it looks like it sort of has 2 parts to it. So I made it this sort of magneton thing, but I guess with 2 parts instead. I referenced sort of the retro sci-fi aesthetic as well for these guys. I didn't want the hyper detailed arms, so I opted for the good old classic Nintendo boss floating hands instead. I was very literal with the colors. I mean, why change what works so well? I think the pose works too for this sort of loosely put together robot made up of 2 different parts. Zostack, the relic Pokemon, an electric and rock type. Created by an ancient race of people from the Hyrule region, Zostack seems to be an almost symbiotic relationship between 2 Pokemon. The top part of Zostack can grab and carry but cannot walk, while the bottom has the ability to move. Together they work in tandem. However, if they move too quickly, they topple and must rearrange themselves. Evolution occurs with this Pokemon when they spend long enough together and work in perfect tandem, locking together and becoming one. Zostack's abilities are Sticky Hold and Motor Drive. So for the evolution, I went with the official design Nintendo gave us already, this sick tower-looking robot with a dragon's head flamethrower that Link can seem to use, and it even has another hand with a bow. My main idea was for it to be this almost upgrade of Zostack, so the 2 were now interlinked and they now had access to some more weaponry. It instead would gain the dragon type in favor of electric type because it still looks rather rocky. I wanted to super simplify this one, keeping the general look of the bottom part of Zostack, and giving it a very general tube arms with most of the detail being in the top and dragon head. I can totally see this thing's dragon head making all the expressions for the main body. I was going to give it a stylized bow, but I thought this Pokemon would make more sense having just some kind of energy laser instead. Almost a welding torch, and it's fitting as these things seem to be connected to the fusion mechanic. Zostaconic, the relic Pokemon, a dragon and rock type. Combined together, Zostaconic gains full combat ability and even evolves 2 powerful arm attachments. A Draconic Maw able to shoot gouts of flames, and an arm that can create various energy constructs. It can normally be found in the wild, protecting the ancient ruins of the people it was created from. It does not need to eat or sleep, so it keeps a constant watch. Zostaconic's head is able to swivel entirely around, so it is perfect for security reasons. There's a myth that says there are even more powerful and larger evolutions of Zostaconic, but it is unknown how to achieve them. Zostoconic's abilities are Dragon's Maw and Motor Drive. So a little warning, this next one, while not officially shown, was in a trailer, and if you've watched any of those things you might have missed videos, you would have seen it. You ready? So look, it's a Redead! How bloody horrifying is that? But I like these designs much more than any of the other depictions of it, so I wanted to make a Pokemon based off it. This one was fun because I had designed around the fact we knew very little about it apart from what we saw, and the fact that I wanted it to be a 2-stage. It's sometimes hard keeping a Pokemon that's supposed to be based on something undead still kid-friendly. I still think Houndstone goes against that completely and is one of the scarier Pokemon, to be honest. I wanted this sort of malformed looking humanoid Pokemon with patches of fur that look like exposed skin and muscle, but really the white parts were its skin under the fur. I took a page from Hisuian Zoroark for the design, as it does the idea of an undead creature very well. Love you, H. Zoroark. Mwah. This design is oddly cute without being too scary. Rumble, the ghoul Pokemon, a ghost and fighting type. Rumble live in the ground during the day due to their photosensitive eyes. At night they burst from their burrows and show off their brutish nature. It has specialized muscles on their body that can be expanded like air sacs. Upon attacking, it expels all the force from the muscle to unleash a deadly strike. During certain nights, it will stand there with other Rumble, not moving at all. If something disturbs them, they let out a horrifying and paralytic scream then leap at their target. Rumble's ability is Regenerator. For the evolution Redread, I wanted to push that malformed and strange look the Redead has. So I opted for this almost long skeletal spine bursting out of the main body and legs that barely grew from Rumble. I made sure that the mouth had the same almost horizontal orientation that the real Redeads had, and combined with the nonplussed look it has, it almost looks like it's melting, which is fitting for a creature that looks like it's undead. I'm so interested to see what these guys will do in the game. Obviously it'll be during the night, but will they just be standing there en masse out in the fields? Because that's too scary for me to think about. Because Redread is so top heavy, I gave it one arm holding it up. I feel like this thing in-game would probably shamble about like some kind of zombie gorilla. But in saying that, he isn't so scary, and I think the tiny white eye helps make it that little bit extra goofy that pushes it away from being straight horror. Redread, the ghoul Pokemon, a ghost and fighting type. Redread are hulking brutes, which spend their time in a sort of stasis, much like their pre-evolution. The force of the attack that follows is much worse, however, and areas where Redread live are usually marked as uninhabitable. The red fur on its body ranges from a long deep red to a shorter bright red, but their fur is constantly falling off and growing, showing their incredibly hard white skin underneath. Injuries Redread sustain are easily shrugged off due to their uncanny ability to quickly regenerate, and is thought to be another reason why they stand in stasis. Redread's ability is Regenerator. Okay, so the final one is, I guess, a bit of a teaser for if there's ever a part 2, but I wasn't going to do any creatures from the original Breath of the Wild, but the more I thought about bokoblins, the more I thought that this thing, it's a goblin, and I love goblins. Why would I not do a goblin? This one is probably the most literal representation, as it's hard to really go any simpler with them. I decided to go super cute and whimsical though, opting for bigger, more expressive eyes, tongue out, and a little cute leaping pose. I almost gave this thing a diaper-like pattern as its baby form, but that just felt really weird. So instead I gave it some markings to look like the hand wrappings. It's cute and silly, and I can definitely imagine it being like, say, Minior, where there's multiple color forms that you could find further in the game. Maybe they'd all have different stats too, just like how bokoblins in the game change colors to denote their strength. But what do you think? Would this evolve into some kind of larger horned bokoblin like we've seen in Tears of the Kingdom trailers, or just maybe into a moblin? Bokobi, the goblin Pokemon, a normal type. Bokobi love nothing more than to cause a ruckus in large groups. They aren't the strongest, but will use items and anything they can find as weapons to fight. As Bokobi mature, if they don't evolve, their skin instead starts to shift hues, and this has a strange effect of causing Bokobi to become stronger and setting up a hierarchy for Bokobi. While wild Bokobi are quite aggressive, Bokobi trained from an egg show a sweet side that many are drawn to. Both wild and trained Bokobi have a strange penchant for wearing clothes, especially found in the trash. Bokobi's abilities are runaway and scrappy. Obviously there's going to be so many more enemies in Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm very excited to travel around like some David Attenborough Link and just watch them do their thing. Of course, with the sheer amount of creatures in the game, should I do a part 2? Evolve little Bokobi? Comment down below what you thought of the video and which design was your favourite. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Next video, either expect a part 2 or we will be exploring more of Astara's ecosystems, specifically some Pokemon found underwater in the coral reef. Thank you so much for watching, and if you don't hear from me on any social medias, I've been lost to Tears of the Kingdom and will return 8 years from now when the next installment comes out. Bye!